A very good morning. The top news is brought to you by Resonate International with a mission to leverage knowledge worldwide. The news being covered is World on Edge, Navigating the Middle East Turmoil. Ladies and gentlemen, the Middle East remains a region of persistent turbulence marked by geopolitical conflicts, deep-seated sectarian divisions, and strategic rivalries that have spiraled into humanitarian crisis and for everyday threats of still more violence. In recent years, the region has witnessed prolonged civil wars, the rise and fall of extremist groups, territorial disputes, and superpower interventions that have only exacerbated tensions. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the war in Yemen, the Syrian crisis, and many other proxy battles are only a few examples of the ongoing unrest in the region. While the complexities are enormous and peace seems elusive, a calm and reasoned approach can illuminate a potential way forward. Before discussing any way forward or potential solution overall at this stage, we must address two fundamental and non-negotiable immediate issues. The first is the return of Israeli hostages must happen as a critical first step. This issue needs top priority resolution. Second is the right of Israel to exist. Without universal recognition of Israel's sovereignty, the region remains locked in perpetual conflict, and peace or any solution will remain a political or diplomatic rhetoric only, with non-state actors taking advantage, as has happened so far. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has remained at the heart of the Middle East region's turmoil for over 75 years. Many regional actors still do not recognize Israel's right to exist as a nation, making diplomatic start point or a resolution virtually impossible. The human toll of the Middle East conflicts is simply overwhelming. Since the Arab-Israeli wars began in 1948, the region has seen over 1 million deaths directly linked to warfare, terrorism, and sectarian violence. The Syrian civil war alone has claimed over 500,000 lives and displaced more than 12 million people, about half the population of Syria, according to the United Nations. In Yemen, one of the world's most pressing humanitarian crises, an estimated 377,000 people have died since the conflict began in 2014, either through direct violence or through famine and lack of health care due to the destruction of infrastructure. The economic cost of the Yemeni conflict alone is projected to exceed $100 billion by 2030. The broader economic loss to the Middle East due to instability is difficult to quantify, but is estimated to be in the trillions of dollars. Oil production has been disrupted, trade routes have been made risky or closed, and key infrastructure in countries like Iraq and Libya has been destroyed. War, sanctions, and instability have all contributed to a significant GDP loss for countries already grappling with high levels of poverty and unemployment. According to the World Bank, the Syrian economy has shrunk by over 70% since the civil war began in 2011. An additional factor in the failure of peace efforts has been the Western insistence on promoting democratic governance structures in a region where tribal, monarchical, and authoritarian systems of power are deeply ingrained. Western interventions, such as those in Iraq and Libya, have often resulted in power vacuums that extremist groups have exploited. The collapse of governance in these countries has demonstrated that democracy imposed by external powers cannot be the solution in a region with unique historical and cultural dynamics. The governance culture in the Middle East is one of dominance, not democratic participation. Acknowledging and working within this reality is essential if lasting peace is to be achieved. Stability must be prioritized over political system change. A three-step approach to a possible reconciliation and peace can be put across. In light of above challenges, a phased approach to resolving the current situation and ongoing conflict is essential. This approach involves immediate de-escalation, short-term stabilization, and long-term economic and security cooperation. Let's look at the immediate what can be done. The most immediate steps must involve return of Israeli hostages and recognition of Israel's right to exist. These two issues appear as non-negotiable starting points for any reasonable peace process to begin. Even regional and international actors such as Egypt, Jordan, and the United Nations must act swiftly to get these issues settled, either way, starting with the hostage return. Simultaneously, all parties must agree to a ceasefire, then halting violence in hot zones such as Gaza, Syria, and Yemen. The UN must enforce these ceasefires through neutral peacekeeping forces by first recalibrating its own position of visible fairness and neutrality. The second short-term objective could be regional stabilization and governance reforms. Once violence is contained, the focus must shift towards one, working out a two-state solution or any other durable solution for a sovereign Palestinian state. And second, regional stabilization. Western powers, particularly the US and European nations, need to adopt a pragmatic approach by working within existing regimes, recognizing the dominant governance structures, and avoiding pushing for system changes. Efforts should focus on reducing foreign interference, particularly proxy instigations for conflicts. Everyone, but most importantly, global leaders and local leaders, must rise above their own ambitions for the sake of their citizenry and humanity, which has already paid a huge price. The third can be long-term economic integration through peace. In the long term, peace will pave the way for economic cooperation, not the other way around. For economic growth to flourish, peace and political stability is a prerequisite. The Middle East possesses vast resources, including oil, natural gas, and a growing young population. Post-conflict, reconstruction must focus on regional economic integration, starting with an economic cooperation forum to facilitate trade, technological exchange, and energy resource sharing. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, with their financial clout, can lead these efforts, while institutions like the World Bank and IMF offer support through long-term infrastructure projects, targeted financial aid, and capacity building for post-war recovery. The role of global powers and the UN is critical. Global powers must make a fundamental shift in their roles. Instead of acting as partisan players, the US, Russia, and China must move toward neutral mediation, keeping the human toll and other risks in mind. Past interventions, whether through military force or economic pressure, have done more harm than good. The UN also needs to reclaim its role as a neutral and honest broker, avoiding perceptions of bias, particularly in conflicts involving Israel and Palestine. A genuine commitment to fairness is crucial if the UN hopes to regain the trust of regional actors and the global community. In conclusion, the Middle East has suffered enough. The human toll is too high, the economic losses too great, and the future too uncertain to allow the region to remain in perpetual conflict. Immediate release of remaining hostages, recognition of Israel's right to exist, and a phased approach to peace are the only viable steps and possible solutions. Global powers must act as neutral mediators, and the UN must step up as an impartial force for good. It is time for the region to move away from the cycles of violence and embrace the hope of a better future. A future where peace, stability, and economic prosperity can finally prevail. The global leaders must talk to each other and act, and they must act now for the sake of suffering humanity and the risks at hand. This may lay the foundation stone for a better world order in days to come. Good luck, best wishes, and God bless.